What's up everybody, welcome back to Fight Bible. Joe here, joined by Paul Reed, MMA coach here at Sweatbox Gym. A couple of months ago I put out into the universe that a badge and belt system in MMA would be highly wanted. I think it's something which the sport needs. Paul has only gone and done it.
So over lockdown, rather than just sit and wonder what I was going to do, I've done loads of research and looked at improving myself as a coach. So I was really fascinated by like this idea of turning the classroom on its head. The problem with MMA and with wrestling and a few other sports is there's no graded system. Having a graded jiu-jitsu system for Brazilian jiu-jitsu is so commercially successful.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, that's the one thing which everybody has said is that there is so much inside MMA, same as there is in jiu-jitsu, but you have a step-by-step process of learning. It's almost kind of, here's your intermediate moves, here's your beginner move. And what people are arguing is that if you do that in MMA, there's so much variety in style that it could cap fighters' abilities. But I think at white belt, you learn the basics. You have to learn your basic striking patterns, you have to learn your basic clinch work, you have to learn your basic wrestling. And I think if you can learn that, then you're already better than most people that go to a kind of standard MMA class and just wing it. Without a syllabus, where do you go?
I think so. I think with a syllabus or without a syllabus, you can get really successful gyms. Really, the whole thing I'm trying to do is when you look at something like jiu-jitsu, it's commercially really successful because people, they become really invested in getting to the next grade. They want a blue belt, they want a purple belt, and they'll train really hard for it because they want some kind of recognition for what they're doing, regardless if they compete or not. In MMA, so you go to a lot of MMA gyms and you get fighters, but fighters are really few and far between. Not many people actually want to take that risk.
No, of course not.
You know, and it's quite an insane thing to do to fight. It's either inside you or it's not. So then what do you do with the 95% of people that don't want to fight? You know, but they really love MMA. They don't just want to do jiu-jitsu and get a jiu-jitsu grade.
Absolutely, yeah.
They want a full rounded skill set in martial arts. They want to, they want to be mixed martial artists. So I think that the grading recognises that. So obviously I'm following the same as the jiu-jitsu grading, and I want the same level of sort of expertise for each grade. So white, blue, purple, brown, black. So a white belt is where everyone starts. A blue belt will be someone that's been training maybe for 2 or 3 years. If it was someone that's going to compete, they would be someone that's just about to fight amateur or is fighting amateur would be a blue belt. So a blue belt is someone that's not fighting, is someone with the same skill, same skill set as someone that's fighting, they just don't compete.
Absolutely.
But on the mat, if you're a purple belt, you generally know where you are in terms of everyone else. Now that's not, being a purple belt doesn't make you better than a blue belt or worse than a brown belt. You can get a really good purple belt that can tap out black belts sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so not everything is equal. I always wanted to fight. That was my main thing. Yeah. I wanted to fight. That's why I did MMA. That's why I did jiu-jitsu. That's why I learned how to do everything, really, because I wanted to compete. The people that fight within an MMA group are really the small minority. You go to any gym, sometimes you get these fighters gyms that sort of scare off members of the public, right? Because they're just all fighters. But generally, most gyms have a small amount of fighters and lots of other people that are doing it for a hobby. So what's the incentive for those people to keep on training?
That is literally me in a nutshell. I've got 9 years of MMA experience, trained, never wanted to compete, but I have nothing to show for my credits or my skills.
So that's it. I mean, fair play for you to staying with it and sticking with it, because you could tell your friend, I train MMA, oh, have you fought?
That's
no,
literally
I don't
the first
fight.
question. And I think that's the main reason why there needs to be a belt system. So it gives those who don't want to have a record something to say they've got something from the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
There are people out there in their 60s are going, oh, I was a black belt in Taekwondo when I was 18. And it's like, that literally means fuck all.
Exactly.
So one of the things which a lot of people said when I put this out in the world that you were going to be doing a belt system was, not everybody has the same style. If you teach the same style to everybody, you will essentially be capping and like bringing the quality of people's MMA down. Because you've got some people who want to fight orthodox stance and they want to brawl. Then you've got some people who want to be southpaw and throw flying kicks and do spinning shit and throw in the more crazy techniques. Will a syllabus like, can it be standardized? Yeah.
But say someone like T. Ortiz, who would wrestle people, put them on their back and punch them in the face. But in the gym, guaranteed he can hit triangles, left, right, and center, and he knows what he's doing on his back.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, you can, like any boxer, you can have your own style, but usually they can box in every style.
Yeah.
You know, and then they have a style they're best at, and a style that they want to express themselves at. Now, if you watch any of my fights, normally I'm just kicking people in the calves, boxing them and wrestling them, and staying on top. But if I'm on my back, I can hit things. I can hit triangles. I can hit arm bars in my black belt in jiu-jitsu. I just don't show it in my MMA fights. That's not my style. Yeah. But I do know all these things. You know what I mean? So someone that's a blue belt under me has to have an understanding of all the techniques. Now, when they understand them all, they can have their own style. They can choose the way they want to fight.
I think that's the
way
important
that fights. You know, the way that works best for them.
If someone's
you have to know all the things.
If someone's putting years of experience into learning how to fight, they will find their own style because they'll find their own passion. Like for me, I love kicking. Brad, when I train with him, he's focusing on his hands. But when we spar and stuff, it's like I'm happy to try and kick him in the head and he can't do it. But it's like that's because that's what I enjoy doing. And if I was to be graded on it, you would go, here's a kick. And you would play to my flexibility. And if I can kick higher than the other guys, it's a kudo point for me. But that's because I put the effort in to get my stretch in and I did this, that, and the other. So you can earn different merits from knowing different skills, and it will all come back full cycle in the grading. Like, if I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu, but I can throw some real crazy random shit that only higher up belts are taught. But that's because I have an interest in the sport, which came from years of playing with it and toying with it.
The whole thing with MMA is looking at different styles and see which ones can work. Now, any style can work. I don't think any style is better than any other. It's the individual. We might have a guy that likes playing off his back and he's got an amazing triangle or arm bar and he can sweep people, and one guy that wrestles and stays on top. We'll see who's the best. You know, which one works. It's not down to whether being on your back works or being on top works. It's who's the better in which situation.
Yeah. It's fighting. It's fighting. You've got to be adaptive. Yeah, it's relative and you've got to adapt. You've got to adapt to your skills, to the skills the other person has. It's fighting at the end of the day. It's actual fighting. This isn't do some counter, do some fake shit, here's your black belt.
It's really high up there.
Now squeeze
but
hard.
Also, I hip it.
As you can see there by Joe's face, that is not a pleasant feeling.
So let's have a little look at the rash guards, which are colour signified for obviously the belt grade. So what goes into a white belt?
So
obviously white belt is the one you get.
Anyone that starts is a white belt. So anyone that starts is a white belt. Yeah, the first you come through the door, and that's what you are. Now, for me to be a blue belt, for me, you have to be either just about to fight amateur MMA or fighting amateur MMA, or have the same skill set as someone that was going to do that.
So realistically, someone with 2 to 3 years of training could achieve a blue belt without wanting to compete. But someone who wants to compete has probably already got 2 to 3 years behind them already.
You're looking at about 2 years.
2 years.
It all depends.
To a jiu-jitsu system,
I mean, the thing is, when you say 2 years, right? Some person might train once a week for 2 years. Some person might be in training 10 times a week for 2 years. So I think rather than just looking at how long you've been training, how often you've been training, you know. Do you have a proper understanding of jiu-jitsu? Can you defend a triangle choke? Do you know how to put a triangle choke on? Can you wrestle? Can you wrestle against the wall? Do you know how to get up against the wall? Do you know how to hold someone down against the wall? Do you have decent boxing? Do you know how to block, parry, move your head? Do you know footwork? Do you know how to hit a check hook? You know, do you know how to roll out punches? All the basics, really. It goes into being a blue belt.
This is the brilliant difference between MMA, jiu-jitsu, and what other people would call traditional martial arts. You can become a black belt in karate and taekwondo with some real light sparring, whereas from day one, like you said, you're pressure testing absolutely everything. You are defending those triangles. You've got someone with their body weight against you against a wall. You're in a cage. You've got to learn your footwork. You've got to learn to adaptively gain a fight IQ from day one, which is why the system is so good, which is why it won't end up like most of the TMAs. You won't end up with 18-year-old black belts who've only trained for 3 years, because it takes longer to learn this stuff.
I think when I tell people, like, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but when I tell people, like, oh, have you got a belt in jiu-jitsu? Yeah, I'm a black belt. Oh yeah, my friend's got a black belt in karate.
Oh.
You know, it's like, or
It's
my
an
friend's got a black belt in this. I don't
an
think people realise the level of training to get a black belt.
No, they don't.
So in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, everyone gets graded differently as well. You know, so if you're 20 or 22, 23 and you're competing, you're going to find it harder to get the grades than if you're 50 and you're doing it as a hobby. You know, you get graded in a slightly different way. There's also what you bring to the club, how much commitment you got to the club. All those things are really, really important.
Absolutely. Well, the more committed you are to it, the more it ingrains itself in your soul. The more you genuinely love the sport. You can't dedicate hours and hours a week and hate it, because those two things don't usually coincide.
Exactly.
If you're putting your life on the line and enjoying it, you're doing it because you're getting good at it. You don't get many people who are working their way for a purple belt, but they actually suck.
Yeah, no one's going to get.
That's not how it works.
I choose who gets the grades. I chat to some of the other coaches.
Well.
That's a big thing. I'm not giving anything away.
Yeah.
So I've got some blue belts. All the blue belts I've got are either fighting amateur MMA, or I've got them giving them their names out to shows now to fight. If I've got any purple belts, they're either pro or they're just about to go pro.
The purple belt? I like the purple.
So the purple one.
The purple looks cool. I think it's.
The purple is nice. And I've given a couple of purples out. I give one to Sammy, who's now in Copenhagen. He's a good amateur fighter, just about to go pro, and he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he understands. He's been training for many, many years. He's been training probably for about 15 years.
Wow.
You know, he deserves it. Well deserved. And he's fought under pressure. You know. I've given black belts to Nad Narimani, UFC, Bradley Scott, Bernie Gom, he's 5-1 as a pro. To Jess, the head coach here, he teaches Thai boxing. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think he's a brown belt or a black belt. He's very good. Do you know what I mean? He has a thorough understanding. But he's also 50. He's my age. Wow. So he's not going to compete now. But he has the technical know-how. He knows what he's doing. Do you understand?
If this system had been around years ago when you first started, do you think the sport would be bigger now, having had 20 years worth of additional time to grow the grassroots element?
It depends what you mean. It depends what you mean by bigger. In terms of the amount of people training, I think it would be massively bigger. Yeah, because, like I'm saying, the commercial success of jiu-jitsu is not just because people don't want to get hit. It's because there's no recognition in MMA if you don't compete.
Yeah.
So if suddenly you get recognised as a grade and people know. Like, I remember when in the old days, you'd see a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, and you'd be like, wow, that guy's a purple belt. You know, he's amazing. Like, he knows so much. So if you could be like that in MMA in those days, you know, and be recognised for your knowledge and for your technique, and how much work you put into it, you know.
Definitely.
I think it'd be really important. I think there'll be a lot more people training. So that's what I mean. Worldwide, you know, I think it would be bigger. But essentially, what I'm trying to do is make my clientele bigger.
Yeah,
but by doing this, I want to incentivize them to train.
Well, I think, like you said, one of the main things is money. Money does definitely come down to it. People would pay membership, they pay monthly for online subscriptions, they pay for gradings and things like that. That's a given. That's part of this sport. But for every pound you make, you put it back into a club, which then eventually in a couple of years' time will mean that the next club that takes it on will have more funds, which means they'll have a better gym, which will bring more people in. And then the gyms will gain quality because there's more money in the sport. Money, sadly, is the big ruler in this.
I mean, for me,
look at the jiu-jitsu club next door. That thing is gorgeous because you've got members which pay.
I've been like going to Pedro's for a long time, so I've seen all the different gyms. And it's amazing now, you know, and there's definitely more money. There's so many more students, you know. There's like a grading the other day with like 200 students.
It's crazy.
But in terms of MMA, I think what I want to do is I want to add value to what the people are doing, you know. If they're coming to me and they want to learn MMA, okay, I want to give you the best experience possible. If that is to incentivize you, to make you train harder, to get recognized and to feel good about yourself and to understand, you know, I've got this, and this is where I am in terms of my journey in MMA. I think that's really important.
Definitely.
And I think it keeps people interested. Obviously, this is what I do for a living, so I need to make money out of it, but at the same time, I'm not trying to make money without giving a really good service.
Absolutely.
For me, it's all about really, I want all my clients to enjoy what they're doing, really understanding what they're trying to do to progress, give them some goals, you know, okay, you're at this level, now how do you get to the next level? How do you level up? Well, you need to get this better, we need to work on your wrestling.
Yeah. People
we need
forget
you to
that.
understand this.
People think it's this mechanical, here's your belt, here's your belt, here's your belt, without earning it. No, you have to put the time in. You actually have to. Like, there's no cheating MMA. You either know the skill and can use it, or you don't know it, and you get found out really, really quick.
I think you can know it, but it's whether you can apply it.
Again, one of the things which people said in the questions was you'll end up with people who are just fat, lazy, and progressing the system just because they've been doing it for long enough. I don't think you will. I honestly don't think you will, because you have to...
Not under this system.
Not under this system, no. No, because there's an element of quality, and if you could see someone on a bag and they're gassed after 30 seconds, you're going to be like, dude, you need to do a hell of a lot more than that, or you're not going to get promoted.
If I give someone that's a purple belt, right, and they don't fight, they have to be able to roll and spar and do some stuff with the pros.
Yeah, definitely.
And look like they can handle themselves.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, now, say if they're 50, well, okay, they have to maybe do it with a 50-year-old guy that was a pro.
Yeah.
And like, I'll know if someone knows what they're doing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll know if someone's giving me a hard time.
But likelihood is someone that's 50 and still training would likely then probably want to teach, and then they'll gain the qualifications through community, which is one of the things you said, like giving back to people.
Passing it on.
If you're purple belt and you teach for 4 years under your system, I think that person deserves to get promoted if they're showing that, and that's the difference. Again, it's that element.
Again, that's the difference when you're looking at grading people that are older than younger. You know?
Yeah. No, I think it's a really, really good system, mate. I'm pleased for you. I'm proud that it's come back to this area as well. I'm glad it's somebody in the Southwest doing it. We don't get many fighters in this area. Realistically, we don't. You compare it to London, which is just full of it, or up north, which is full of it. Southwest is kind of isolated. Like, you know, we've had 4 or 5 UFC fighters from this corner of the world.
There's a few of us around here. There's like all the
pro
the guys
fighters
around
were like
here,
highest
I know.
level. Like,
yeah,
there's
I know
not
all the guys
many.
around here.
Yeah, you would
There's a
do,
few.
because there's not that many of them. So
Yeah,
you know them all, and I'm glad that it's in the Southwest. And I'm glad that it's here at Sweatbox as well, because it's one of the best facilities in the Southwest by a long
gym.
way.
It's such a good gym. It's like really inclusive. It's like really cosmopolitan. So many different types of people in here. It's really interesting. There's a lot of clever people here, and I love being here because like I'm learning stuff all the time.
So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for Paul for talking through his system with us. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have an opinion on the belt system for MMA. What do you think? Drop it in the comments below. I hope that they're positive, because I genuinely believe this is one of the best systems to come to the current MMA environment. I think it's in a really, really good situation. I think it's only going to get better for you. So I'm really proud of you, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So if you like the video, guys, please subscribe to the channel, like it as well, drop your comment below. We're going to do lots of training videos here today with Paul as well, so please check back for more videos. Also as well, check out the links for Read MMA as well, they'll be in the description as well. But for now, guys, from me, Joe, and Paul, peace out.